Hello everyone, welcome back to IndianCoding.com. Today we will learn about HTML forms. So let's see what is HTML form. An HTML form is used to collect user input. The user input is most often sent to a server for a processing. So the first form of the HTML is the form element. The HTML form element is used to create an HTML form for a user point. So here you can see I have used the HTML form. The form element is a container for different type of input elements such as text field, checkbox, radio button, submit button, etc. So here, if you're writing anything like a text button or radio button or any buttons, you will mention it in the form element. So let's see, the first element we will mention is the input element. Here you can see I have already mentioned the input element over here. So what is input element? The HTML input element is the most used form element. An HTML input element can be displayed in many ways depending on the type attribute. So here the type attribute is the text and the ID name is last name and the name is the last name. So here you can see this is the type attribute. In case of the label, the next form is the label. You will notice the label element is the example here to define the label of the input. Okay, the label element is useful for screen reader user because the screen reader will read out loud the label when the user focus on the input element. So if you're using any input element, you have to mention the label. So the user will get to know that what is the label of this input. Like if you're getting one input over there, so what is the label? You need some name. So here I mentioned one name is the first name and the input for that. And again the last name and input for that. So let's see what is this. Let me save this file and run this code. Now you can see this is the label we are writing. We can write any first name over here. Like for example, I'm using Kriti. So you can here, you can write the name Kriti over here and the second name, the last name. So you can give your last name. So here Kriti Upadhyay. So you can see label is used for knowing like what information we need to put here. And inside the input, we can write anything like, for example, first name. So any first name and last name. So any last name. So this is the this is the label and the input. The next one we will study about the radio button. So what is radio button? Here the input type is the radio and defines the radio button. Radio button let users select one of the limited number of choice. So in case of radio button, I am having its code. So here let me copy the code and then we will run this code. So I will add one more form. And within this form, I will use this code. So here you can see I have mentioned the input and then label and input label, and after that I have used all these. So in case of the radio button, what we need to do in input type, we will give radio. So it will come in a radio form. What is radio form? You have to choose, like there would be so many like options over there and you can choose one option from that. So let me save this file and we'll run this code, then you will be able to know what is radio button. So now you can see here is the radio button. So you can select any one of this like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So it will choose any one from the given information. So this is called the radio button. So next we are having the checkbox. By the word of checkbox, you must be understanding like what is checkbox. So in case of checkbox, we have to give the input type as a checkbox. Checkboxes let a user select 0 or more option for a limited number of choice. So let me get the code for it. So for checkbox, here I'm using this code and then we'll run this code. Now you can see here the input type is the checkbox, and here the ID name is vehicle, name is the vehicle, and value is bike. So here label for vehicle, this for is the attribute used for label, and then I have a bike is a context over here. So this is written in the checkbox form. So let's see how it will come. Again, we'll save this file and run this code. You don't need to run this code again and again. You just can refresh this file. So now you can see it is coming in a checkbox form. So it is, see, when you're clicking on this, it will check over there. The sign is check. So this will help you how many amount of information you need. So you can check those information and you will get those information. So this is for the checkbox. Now the next one and the last one is the submit button. In case of submit button, we use input type as a submit, and it defines a button for submitting the form data to a form handler. The form handler is typically a file on a server with the script of processing input data. So a form handler is specified in the form action attribute. So in case of submit button, what you need to do is this is the submit button code. So let me copy this code first. And now you can see in case of submit button, we are not using the type, we are using action, and within this action, we are using the page, PHP page or any other page. And again, the label name, input name, label name, and input name. And last, we are giving type is equal to submit and then value equal to submit. So again, we'll save this file and we'll refresh this file. Now you can see first name is John and last name is Doe. So it is already mentioned in our code. That is why it is already written. So we'll submit this. So by clicking this submit, it will automatically submit to the particular document or particular path. But here it is not submitting because we have not done any JavaScript or any further code or calculation over there. So that is why it is not working. But when you'll do some changes, it will automatically work. So that is all about the HTML elements in the form, and tomorrow we will learn about more features related to HTML. Thank you so much.